Your wife isn't welcome. She's not really family, Mom said about Thanksgiving dinner. I hung up, took my wife to Paris instead, posted one photo. Brother commented, "Must be nice to throw away money." I replied, "It is. By the way, that's the same money I've been sending Mom and Dad." Just redirected it. Dad called at 2 a.m. Paris time. Can you even imagine someone looking you dead in the eye, or in my case, speaking casually into the phone, and telling you your wife isn't real family? That's what my mom did the day before Thanksgiving, while my sweet, innocent 6-year-old daughter sat right there, listening to every single word. It was a punch to the gut, a betrayal that cut so deep it almost felt surgical. What the hell happened next? I was in our kitchen, phone wedged between my ear and shoulder, a half-packed pie box on the counter, turkey brining, football quietly humming in the background, a perfectly normal, cozy pre-holiday scene. And then her words. Your wife isn't welcome. She's not exactly family. Just like that. Like she was ordering off a menu, not tearing my entire life in half. My daughter, Emma, was coloring turkeys at the table. Her marker froze mid-feather. She looked up, those big, innocent eyes wide, the way kids do when they sense a tectonic plate shift in the adult world, but don't have the rulebook yet. "Mom," she mouthed, her voice a tiny, confused whisper. My wife, Mia, was at the sink, rinsing sweet potatoes, humming a little tune. She caught my face, and the water stopped. Instantly. On the phone, Mom just kept going. "You can come, Caleb. Of course you can. But her, and the girl, it's just not the same. This is for real family." Real family. The word echoed, hollow. My hand around the phone went numb. Emma's lower lip started to tremble. She looked from me to Mia, then back, searching for a sign that this was all just some terrible joke. I didn't explode. I didn't shout the furious speech forming in my throat. I just swallowed it down, hard, feeling my pulse hammer in my ears. And then, very, very quietly, I said, "Got it." And I hung up. The kitchen went silent, thick with unspoken hurt. Emma, her voice barely audible, whispered, "Are we in trouble?" I managed, "No, baby, we're not." But inside, something finally, irrevocably, snapped into place. Not rage. Not even shock. Just done. Absolutely, utterly done.
So, who am I?
I'm Caleb, 37, firefighter. Live just outside Dallas. I work those grueling 24-hour shifts, see things I don't even talk about over dinner, and come home to our little brick rental with a tiny driveway and a backyard Emma calls a forest, even if it's just 4 trees and a fence. Mia and I? We've been married 3 years. Emma is my biological daughter. Mia came into our lives when Emma was 2, and she embraced being a mom with a love so fierce it would bring tears to your eyes. My parents, though? They've never had a problem using the word step when introducing Mia. Like it was a disclaimer. This is Mia, Caleb's wife, and that's Emma, his little girl. Like there should have been a trial period. Like Mia and Emma were some kind of optional accessories. On paper, I'd been a pretty good son. More than good, actually. When my dad slipped a disc and couldn't work overtime, I picked up extra shifts and started sending them $600 a month to help with the mortgage. When their AC died in the Texas heat, I swiped my card for $3,200 without a second thought. That spring storm, when their roof started leaking, took out a small personal loan, another $5,000 to cover what insurance wouldn't. And their last credit card balance, when they accidentally missed 4 payments in a row, that was $4,800. Over the last 5 years, it was a slow, steady bleed. Auto transfers. Emergency Venmos. Those "I'll pay you back" texts that never, ever materialized. If you do the math, it's right around 18 grand. $18,000. To be treated like the family ATM with a siren on top. The money always went through me. They never asked Mia for a dime. They never even said thank you to her. Even though it was Mia who sat at our kitchen table with me at 11 o'clock at night, going over our budget, meticulously moving numbers around, making sure we could actually make it work. They loved the help, son. They just didn't love the parts of my life that came with it. And let me be clear, that Thanksgiving call wasn't some bolt from the blue. It was just the first time my mom said the quiet part out loud. There were so many smaller cuts before. Like Emma's 5th birthday, her first after Mia and I got married. My parents showed up late, empty-handed because, and I quote, "We thought gifts would be confusing since she has 2 households now." My ex and her parents were there. They brought a dollhouse and a stack of books as tall as Emma. My parents sat at the table and complained about parking. Or last Christmas. My mom hung stockings for all the grandkids with their names spelled out in glitter glue. Lucas, Brody, Haley. Emma's stocking? A generic, pre-printed one from the dollar store. "She's only here half the time," Mom whispered to me, like that made it logical. Emma, bless her heart, still smiled. She held that generic stocking up and said, "Look, Dad, this one can be for everyone. She's better than any of us, truly." I kept telling myself they'd come around. If I just kept showing up. If I just kept helping. If I smoothed over the edges, made excuses.
They're old school, I'd say.
They don't get blended families. They're trying. I said that so many times it stopped sounding like words. The money part grew slowly, too. Dad retired early because of his back. Mom hadn't worked since I was in middle school. There was always something. Your father's truck needs new brakes. Property taxes went up again. We're a little short this month. At first, it was $200 here, $300 there. Then it turned into, "Could you just set something up automatically so we don't have to keep asking?" It's embarrassing, Caleb.
So I did.
$450. Every other Friday. The same day I got paid from the station. By the time you mix in the roof, the AC, the credit card, the surprise medical bills, yeah, 18 grand sounds about right. Mia and we used to talk about going to Paris for our 5th anniversary someday. I remember opening our savings app and just laughing. At this rate, I told her, by the time we can afford it, we'll be 80. She just gave me that small, tired smile. "Hey," she'd say, "at least we'll be cute old tourists." We were saving slowly. 50 here, 100 there. But it kept getting raided by emergencies that weren't ours. Paris became the joke dream. Until my mom told me my wife and daughter weren't really family. After I hung up, the kitchen went deadly quiet. Mia wiped her hands on a towel, her voice barely a whisper. What happened? I sat down across from Emma. Her turkey drawing had a smear of orange where her hand had shaken. "What did Grandma say?" she asked. Oh, how I wanted to lie. I wanted to say, "Grandma's sick. Grandma's tired. Grandma forgot how phones work." Instead, I took a deep, shaky breath. "She said something very unkind," I told her. "About your mom and about you two coming over." Emma's eyebrows pinched together. "She doesn't want us there." Mia stepped closer, her hand gently on Emma's shoulder. "Hey," she said softly. "That's on them, not you, okay? You didn't do anything wrong." But Emma's eyes started to shine. She pressed her lips together, physically holding back the tears. "I made her a turkey," she whispered. "I put her glasses on it. She'd drawn them lopsided, with Mom's gray streak through the feathers. She'd been so proud." I felt something in my chest twist hard. A cold, hard knot. "They don't get your turkey," I said, my voice raw. "They don't get you. They don't deserve you." Mia looked at me over Emma's head. "Caleb." She started, but there was no walking this back. Not this time. I stood up, walked to the counter, where my phone lay face down. Picked it up. Opened my banking app. Stared at the numbers I'd been pretending not to see. There it was. Automatic transfer. Mom and Dad. Next run. Friday. $450. I clicked edit. My thumb hovered. Then, with a clarity I hadn't felt in years, I hit cancel transfer. A little confirmation pop-up. "Are you sure?"
Oh yeah.
I'd never been so sure of anything in my life. "That's one thing," I said out loud. Mia frowned. "One thing? What?" I scrolled a few more screens into our pathetic little savings account. The sad, dusty vacation fund Mia and I had been feeding scraps to for 3 years. Balance, $3,200. Plus the $450 that wasn't going out on Friday. And the $450 after that. And the Christmas bonus I knew my mom was already factoring into her cruise plans. A thought hit me so hard I almost laughed. Mia, I said, my voice thick with something new. What would you say if I told you we could go to Paris?
Now.
She blinked. Now, as in someday now? Or now as in? Now as in, I can book it tonight. I cut in. If we're okay flying coach and staying in a small hotel with suspiciously floral bedspreads. She just stared at me like I'd started speaking fluent Martian. Caleb, that money. It's the same money I've been sending them, I said. The same money they're using to host dinners our daughter isn't welcome at. My voice shook once, then leveled out. I'm done paying to be told my family doesn't count. Emma looked between us, confused, but catching the energy. Paris, she whispered. The tower? The sparkly one. Yeah, bug, I said, my throat tight. The sparkly one. Her mouth made a little, oh. Mia set the dish towel down, carefully. Are you sure? She asked, her eyes searching mine. I don't want to be the reason you cut them off. I don't want them blaming me. They already blame you, I said, stepping closer to kiss her forehead. Might as well give them the right reason. Pack warm clothes. We're going to eat croissants instead of dry turkey this year. Booking it felt surreal. I sat at the kitchen table after Emma went to bed, laptop open, credit cards sweating in my hand. Dallas to Paris. Red-eye flights. Not cheap, but suddenly, not impossible when you weren't bleeding out money for someone else's bills. Hotel near the Latin Quarter. Tiny room, breakfast included. Photos looked like someone's grandma decorated it in 1987. I loved it instantly. I kept thinking about that number. $18,000. This trip for the three of us, all in about $5,000. Flights, hotel, a reasonable budget for food, and a couple of touristy things Emma probably wouldn't remember in intricate detail, but would feel in her bones. $5,000 to give my wife a week, where she wasn't not exactly family. $5,000 to show my daughter the world is bigger than one ugly opinion. And the most expensive thing, the thing I couldn't put a price on, $5,000 to prove to myself that my job isn't to sacrifice everything for people who won't even do the bare minimum of kindness. I pressed confirm booking. Got the little spinning wheel. Then the email. Your trip to Paris is confirmed. Mia stared at the screen, hand over her mouth. Are we really doing this? She whispered.
Yeah, I said.
We are. Instead of driving 10 miles to watch my mom carve a turkey and pretend my wife didn't exist, we were going 5,000 miles across an ocean. It felt like breathing after being underwater for years. I didn't call my parents back. Just one text in the family group chat. We won't make it for Thanksgiving. Plans changed. Happy holidays. My brother Mark replied with a thumbs up and a turkey emoji. My mom left it on read. We flew out the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. Emma wore her little backpack with cat ears that Mia bought her, clutching a stuffed Dalmatian one of the guys at the station gave her. Like Daddy's work dog, she announced proudly. She pressed her face to the plane window during takeoff and whispered, It's like the world is a Lego set. Mia reached for my hand, squeezed it hard.
Thank you, she said.
For choosing us. I wanted to say for the first time, but I didn't. Paris was cold and bright, and overwhelming in the best way. We did the tourist stuff. The Eiffel Tower at night. Hot chocolate so thick you could almost stand a spoon in it. Emma fell in love with a carousel in some random square and insisted we ride it 3 times. On Thanksgiving Day, we walked along a street, eating crepes instead of sitting in my parents' dining room, listening to my dad complain about kids these days. We found a small place serving some version of roast chicken and potatoes. We can pretend this is turkey, Mia laughed. Halfway through, Emma held up her glass of orange juice.
Cheers, she said.
To our tiny family. I clinked my water glass against hers. To our tiny family, I repeated. I felt my phone buzz in my pocket a couple times that day. I ignored it. That night, back at the hotel, I finally checked. The group chat was a flurry of photos from dinner. Cousins around the table. My parents' house looking extra polished. A glamour shot of the turkey, a blurry one of Mom's centerpiece, really just fake leaves around a candle. And then my brother posted a screenshot of my Instagram story. It was a simple picture. Mia and Emma in their winter coats, backs to the camera, looking at the Eiffel Tower lit up. I'd captioned it, "Happy Thanksgiving from Paris." Mark commented under his post in the family chat, "Must be nice to waste money." I stared at that for a long time. I could have ignored it. I could have logged off and gone to sleep. Instead, I felt that old, familiar heat in my chest, and then something colder, clearer, right behind it. I typed slowly. No yelling, no all caps. "It is nice," I wrote. "By the way, that's the same money I've been sending to Mom and Dad." Just redirected it. I hit send. No one replied for about 10 minutes. Then the messages started. Mom, "Excuse me, Mark, what is that supposed to mean?" Dad, "Caleb, call me now." I didn't. Mia saw my face and touched my arm. "You okay?"
"Yeah," I said.
They finally know. We put Emma to bed in the tiny cot by the window. She fell asleep holding the Dalmatian by its tail. Mia and I lay there, listening to the Paris traffic noises we didn't recognize. At exactly 2:03 a.m. Paris time, my phone started ringing. Dad on the screen. I stared at it for a long second. Then I answered. He didn't say hello. "Are you in your right mind?" he snapped. What kind of man cuts his parents off without even warning them? There it was. Not, "You're in Paris. That's great." Not, "How's Emma? Is she having fun?" Just the money. "I did warn you," I said quietly. When Mom said my wife and daughter weren't welcome at Thanksgiving. That was the warning. "That's not what she said," he shot back immediately. "You know your mother. She gets worked up. She didn't mean. She said your wife isn't welcome. She's not exactly family." I repeated the words slowly. "And she lumped Emma in with that." "Emma was right there, Dad. She heard it." He went silent for half a beat. "Kids are resilient," he said finally. "You can't throw away years of support over one misunderstanding. Your mother is devastated. She's been crying all day." I closed my eyes. "Dad," I said, "do you know how much I've sent you in the last 5 years?" He scoffed. "Is this about keeping receipts now?" 18,000, I said. Give or take. House. AC, credit card. Monthly transfers. 18 grand that could have been in Emma's college fund. Or a house down payment for us. Or, I don't know, Paris. He started to say something, but I kept going. And after all that, the first time I do something for my own family with that money, my brother calls it wasting it, you call it 2 in the morning to demand I explain myself, and Mom tells my wife she's not family. I sat up in bed, careful not to wake Mia. "I'm not your backup bank anymore, Dad," I said. "You're off my accounts. The money's staying here." He exhaled, loud enough that it crackled through the speaker. "What are we supposed to do?" he asked. "The mortgage is due next week. We already counted on that transfer." "That's the problem," I said. "You counted on money that was never guaranteed, while treating the people supplying it like optional accessories." "That's not fair," he snapped. "We raised you. We gave you everything. You gave me a childhood and a roof," I said. "I'm grateful. That debt's paid. This," I gestured around the dim hotel room, even though he couldn't see it. "This is for my family now." He went quiet, then softer. "This is your wife's doing. She's turning you against us. A good woman wouldn't let her husband abandon his parents like this." There it was. The line I'd been expecting. Mia didn't cancel the transfers. I said I did. Mia didn't say Emma wasn't family. You and Mom did. Stop using her as a shield. He made a disgusted sound. "You'll regret this," he said. "When she leaves you, and you come crawling back, don't expect us to." I hung up. My hands were shaking again, but not like before. Not from fear. From finally putting the fire out instead of sitting in the smoke. The fallout wasn't subtle. By the time we woke up for breakfast, my phone had 37 new notifications. Texts from Mom, long ones full of phrases like, "After all we've done," "Ungrateful," "She's brainwashing you," and You're breaking your father's heart. A paragraph about how they'd already booked a cruise for next spring and were counting on your help like always. Mark chimed in with, "You embarrassed them in front of everyone over a comment, grow up." My sister, Tori, sent a different message though. "Hey, I heard what Mom said. That's messed up. I'm sorry." That one I actually answered. "Thanks," I wrote. "Paris is nice, by the way." She replied with a heart emoji and a picture of her kids in the backyard, holding a Happy Thanksgiving sign they'd clearly made themselves. "Show Emma," she wrote. "They miss her." I did. Emma grinned, mouth full of baguette. "My cousins," she said proudly.
"Yeah," I said.
"Your cousins. Not everyone was against us." That mattered. I didn't answer my parents. I didn't argue. I didn't send a long essay explaining my feelings. The boundary was already set. Money stays here. My wife and daughter come first. Everything else is just noise. When we got back from Paris, life slipped back into its usual rhythm. Alarms at 5 a.m. Coffee that tasted like dirt at the station. Sirens.
Calls.
Smoke. Only now, when payday hit, my phone didn't ping with automatic transfer to Mom and Dad. It just stayed. I opened a new savings account and labeled it Emma's Future. First deposit, $450. It felt tiny and huge at the same time. We spent one Saturday afternoon printing out our favorite Paris photos and hanging them in the hallway. Emma taped her Eiffel Tower drawing between them. "This is our museum," she announced. Mia kissed my cheek.
"We really did it," she said.
"We picked us." It was quiet. No dramatic soundtrack. No lightning bolt moment. But my shoulders felt lighter in a way I hadn't even realized I was carrying. My parents didn't take the hint.
Of course they didn't.
They showed up at our house 2 weeks before Christmas, just to talk. I only opened the door because I saw Tori's minivan behind them and thought maybe she'd come, too. She hadn't. It was just them. Mom's eyes were red, like she'd either been crying or was worried someone might think she hadn't been. Dad went straight for serious.
"We're not staying long," he said.
"We just want to clear the air." Emma was on the living room rug with her Legos. When she saw them, she froze. "Hi, sweetie," Mom chirped. "We missed you at Thanksgiving." Emma looked at me first. I nodded once. She gave a tiny wave. "Hi." Dad looked past her like she was a lamp. "Caleb," he started. "We talked to Pastor Jim. He said families should work through things, not cut each other off." "We're not cut off," Mom added quickly. "We're just hurt and confused. You could have talked to us before you did something so drastic." "You mean canceling the money?" I asked. Mom winced. "It's not about the money." "Okay," I said. "Good, because you're not getting it back." Dad's jaw clenched. "We're behind," he snapped. "Between the cruise deposit and the heating bill, we're in a bind."
"You know that."
"And you know we've always counted on your support." I glanced toward the hallway where our Paris photos hung. "You put a vacation deposit down before paying your heating bill?" I asked. "And you were counting on my support for that?" He didn't answer. Mom, switching tactics, said, "Your brother said you bragged in the group chat about wasting money on that trip." I corrected him. I said, "I told him it's the same money I've been sending you. Just redirected. I'm allowed to redirect my own money." She flinched at the word. "Money should not come with strings," she said. "We never raised you to be transactional." "You're right," I said. "So, let's call this what it is. This isn't me charging you. This is me stopping. I will not fund a family my wife and daughter aren't part of." That's the whole sentence. Mom's eyes filled with angry tears. "We never said Emma wasn't family," she protested. "You twisted what I said. You told me my wife wasn't welcome. You lumped Emma in." She heard every word. My voice stayed calm, even when my hands didn't. "You can pretend you don't remember, but she does." Emma's Lego figure dropped from her hand. "She didn't want my turkey," she said quietly. All three of us looked at her. Emma's cheeks were pink. She was staring at the floor, but her voice was clear. "I drew Grandma with glasses," she said. "Daddy said we could take it. Then you said we shouldn't come." Mom opened and closed her mouth like a fish. I was upset, she stammered. I didn't mean for you to hear. But she did, I said. You can't unring that bell. Dad huffed.
So that's it?
Years of help just gone? Over one bad phone call?
It's not one call, I said.
It's the stockings, the birthdays, the comments, the way you treat Emma like a guest and Mia like a problem. The phone call was the last straw. The money ending is the consequence. Mom sniffed. Your sister thinks you're overreacting. She said Mark says Mia's got you wrapped around her finger. Funny, I said, because in Paris, when my dad called at 2 a.m., Mia was sleeping while I canceled the transfers. I stepped back and opened the door wider. I'm not banning you from my life, I said. But the bank is done. If you want a relationship with us, it's not going to be one where I'm always paying and you're choosing who counts. You can either be grandparents to Emma and respectful to my wife, or you can be people I knew a long time ago. That's your choice. They just stared at me. Dad finally muttered, You'll come crawling back. Maybe, I said, but I doubt it. I nodded toward the driveway. Mom's eyes darted to Emma one last time. Come on, Jem, she said tightly. We're wasting our time. They left. Emma walked over after the door closed, slipping her hand into mine. Are they still mad? She asked. Probably, I said. Are we in trouble? She asked again. I shook my head. No, bug, I said. We're just not their bank anymore.
That's all she thought about that. Okay, she said.
Can we make hot chocolate? Yes. Mia called from the kitchen. Extra marshmallows. We're celebrating. Celebrating what? Emma asked. Mia poked her head around the corner, a smear of flour on her cheek from the cookies she was making. Us, she said. We're celebrating us. Christmas came, and we didn't drive across town or dress up for anyone. We stayed home. Tori texted that morning that Mom was pouting, Dad was ranting about ungrateful kids, and Mark was fake agreeing while his wife glared at him. We're coming over after lunch, if that's okay, she wrote. I told her, doors open. Bring whatever or nothing. By noon, our table was set for 4. By 3, it was 10. Tori, her kids, my cousin with definitely not stolen cookies. Even a guy from the station escaping his in-laws. We dragged out folding chairs. Emma tore around in reindeer socks, screaming with her cousins. No one asked where my parents were. They already knew. At some point, I noticed the 2 empty chairs I'd set near the wall without thinking. Where my parents might have sat. Emma pointed. Who's that for? Just extra, I said. For people who decide to show up later. She nodded and went back to Legos. After dessert, she disappeared and came back with a drawing. Me, Mia, and Emma under the Eiffel Tower, hearts in the sky, my family written across the top. My throat burned. Can we put it on the fridge? She asked. Right in the middle, I said. Looking at that picture, I realized I didn't actually want my parents' approval anymore. I wanted this. A home where my kid never has to ask if she's real family, and where my money builds our life, not patches theirs. This whole experience really hammered home some tough truths for me. I'm curious, what would you have done in my shoes? Or maybe you've had a moment where you realized you needed to set a really hard boundary with family. How did you handle it? Tell me what you think in the comments below. I really want to know.